Get ready for an outstanding entertainment program. The Jimmy Dore Show.
Hey, wow, renowned linguist, philosopher, historian, social critic, cognitive scientist, and political activist, Noam Chomsky is on the line. How are we doing, Noam?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm still down reeling the buzz I caught last night after hotboxing a loaf in my car. But my lungs need a break, so I'm switching to edibles for the afternoon. And you?
I'm fine. So why did you call today, Noam Chomsky?
Yeah. Remember before the election when I said you should vote for Joe Biden, and once he wins the election, that's when you should push him to the left?
Yes, I remember that. I do.
Well, now might be a good time to start doing that.
Now?
Okay, more like 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Okay, more like 47 years ago.
Yes, 47 years ago? But how could anybody do that now, Noam?
Well, it's really very simple. All you need is access to a functional time machine or even a used one.
Where could anyone get a used time machine, Noam?
In the future, because in the future there's going to be a big surplus of vintage time machines that people use to trade in for the newer models.
Yeah, but a functional time machine? I didn't know such things were possible.
Of course, Jimmy. Time travel is theoretically possible in certain general relativity space-time geometries that permit traveling faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, well, what are the space-time geometries you're talking about?
Wormholes or rotating black holes. Keep in mind that so far traveling to an arbitrary point in space-time has very limited support in quantum mechanical physics. Currently, there are more than 760,000 man-made objects larger than a centimeter orbiting the Earth right now. So before we can travel back in time to change Joe Biden's behavior, we have to find a solution to the vast amount of accumulated space trash that could endanger a manned shuttle hurtling around the solar system at the speed of light.
But do we even have the technology to take advantage of wormhole theory?
Only if we travel to the future to take advantage of society's scientific advancements. From what I've read, time travel to the future is much easier than time travel into the past.
Why is that?
Oh, man, I'm so fucking stoned. I am so totally fucked up right now.
No, this isn't helpful at all. You know that, don't you?
I know many things. David Hume told us power is in the hands of the governed. The masters rule only by consent, and if consent is withdrawn, they lose.
Then maybe Democrats shouldn't have pledged their votes to Joe Biden without any concessions first, huh?
Well, now you're just being ridiculous. It's much easier to travel into the future by a newer model time machine and then travel into the past to kill Joe Biden's barber.
What good would that do?
Well, it's very simple. If Biden had gotten better hair advice 50 years ago, he wouldn't be such a huge dickhead today. This election was a clear choice between the lesser of two dead ferrets sitting on two old guys' heads. So now is the time for real politics. Go back in time and kill Joe Biden's barber. That's all I got. Noam's going to crash now. Later, Gator.
I like Stone Chomsky.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like Stone Chomsky. I really do. He's fantastic.
Establishment media sucks. All gaslighting, so good luck. Bullshit we can't afford. Why he's fomenting this? Watch and see as his jack off. The medium speeds and jumps the medium and hits him head on. It's the Jimmy Dore Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Jimmy Dore Show. Let's get to the jokes before we get to the jokes, shall we? Hey, I know most of you follow me for the wry parallels that I draw between ancient Greek hegemonies and modern-day American colonial politics. But what about my abs? So stupid. Hey, 10 years ago today, after the Democrats used their supermajority to pass the Obamacare, Blue Shield raised its premium 60%. Let's build on that. Hey, here are some promising economic news. Manufacturing jobs are up. Unfortunately, it's mostly in tasers, Snuggie blankets, and coffins. I know I'm powerless to change the verdict of history, but I still get incensed whenever Seth Rogen gets a romantic lead.
I totally can relate.
Hey, what's coming up on today's show? Why is the hashtag fraud squad trending? The answer just may surprise you, or will it? All the progressives in Congress refused to force the vote for Medicare for all, and they all voted for Nancy Pelosi. Hey, Democrats win back the Senate. Will they now start fighting for the people? The answer just may surprise you, or will it? Hey, the UK won't let Julian Assange be extradited by the United States, but they won't let him out on bail either. Hey, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks smears Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, saying that Julian Assange is working for the people trying to prosecute him. Sounds ridiculous? Yes, it is. Plus, we have phone calls from Joe Biden, Mitt Romney, Al Pacino, and Noam Chomsky. That's today, plus a lot more on today's Jimmy Dore Show. Okay, everybody, so what happened yesterday? What happened with the hashtag force to vote? Well, it started out, AOC, Cori Bush, and Barbara Lee for Congress all did not vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. They didn't say anything, and so we all thought that they were withholding their vote. And it turns out they weren't, because, boom, and now they all voted for her. So every member of the squad voted for Nancy Pelosi. The only people who didn't vote for Nancy Pelosi were corporate Democrats. Blue dogs and people like that. Though they were able to withhold their vote from Nancy Pelosi. The squad who ran on withholding their vote from Nancy Pelosi and forcing a floor vote on hashtag on Medicare for all. They ran on this. The time came they could do it. They didn't do it. They were the only ones who didn't do it. Corporate Democrats voted against her. So, Pelosi reelected Speaker despite narrow majority. That is, and there's the ending to your shitty movie. There it is right there. I said shame on the House progressives for not fighting for force to vote and Medicare for all. What is the point of voting for progressives inside the Democratic Party again? They won't fight. They are selling you out and abandoning you. Shame. We are a failed state, as is the progressive movement. Kyle Kalinski's right when he says, I'm sorry, but there's no excuse for the left not to have organized in the last few years to mount a challenge to Nancy Pelosi. You know she's hostile to you and your goals, and she has a 28% approval rating. She's less popular than Trump by far. What the F were you doing this entire time? I'll tell you what they were doing, Kyle. Nothing. They weren't doing anything. It was obvious they weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything until a pothead comedian decided to bring it up a month before the speakership election. They weren't doing anything. They're still not doing anything. They weren't doing anything. This idea that they were negotiating behind the scenes. Now who's being naive? Kay? Are you kidding me? They negotiated behind the scenes and got nothing. Because if they got something, they would tell you. They told us we got PAYGO, and we all know PAYGO is 100% bullshit. 100%, no matter what anybody else tells you. I know a lot of people, well, that's important because we have to do it. That's bullshit. Don't listen to those people who tell you PAYGO was important. It's not fucking important. That's a self-imposed rule by Nancy Pelosi, and they could have told her get rid of that, and that could have been all. They could have did all of it. What is the point of getting rid of PAYGO if you're not going to have a floor vote on Medicare for all? There is no point. There's no point. And guess what? Nancy Pelosi loses the speakership. The Democrats lose the speakership in 2022 because Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are the face of this party. Two of the most hated politicians in the country. They're going to get wiped out in the House. And pay-go rules get lost anyway. The Republicans rewrite all the rules.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. Anybody telling you that pay-go is a win, that is ridiculous. That is a diversion. We got pay-go, so this will enable Medicare for all. Are you going to do the Medicare for all? No. Then there's no point. You're bullshitting us. When Ryan Grimm came out, he was running interference for the squad, just like The Intercept does all the time. That's their role. That's their access journalism. That's what The Intercept does. That's what Ryan Grimm does. And everybody knew immediately that was ridiculous. Dave Day knew it was ridiculous. Justin Jackson ratioed fucking. Come on. Everybody knows that's ridiculous. Anybody who's trying to tell you that means something is not being candid. They have another reason for telling you that. They were doing nothing. Where the F were you doing? They were doing nothing. They were doing Rolling Stone and Vanity Fair cover shots with Nancy Pelosi.
Impeachment.
They were doing impeachment. They were calling Trump an MFer in public. That's what they were doing. They weren't doing anything we asked them to do. They were pushing Russiagate. That's what they've been doing. Ryan Knight says progressives in Congress shouldn't even be voting for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker in the first place, but to vote for her without demanding any concessions shows a complete lack of courage to stand up for the corrupt Democratic establishment. # force the vote. Some people think they were negotiating behind the scenes, and we just haven't found out what they got yet. Oh, my God.
I've heard that.
Oh, my God. So they got something, but they're keeping it a secret. Does anyone believe this shit? They got something, and it's great, but they're keeping it a secret. What? Here's a guy, I'm on my way to admitting patients this afternoon. This is a reminder that many physicians, nurses, and other healthcare workers think Medicare for all is needed now more than ever. Forced to vote, for crying out loud. This physician can't say it enough. So Cenk Uygur would tell that guy he doesn't understand how politics works, this doctor. I'm from a town hall around the corner from Mark Pocan's house right now with some other activists from the People's Party and our Wisconsin Revolution speaking out about leveraging progressive power when we actually have it. It's cold, but worth it.
Right on.
That's activism. Politicians like Representative Mark Pocan may see Medicare for all as a campaign slogan to run on and then discard at the first opportunity. But for my friend, it has always been a deeply personal issue, as it should be when 70,000 people die a year from lack of insurance. Read her sign. Her sign says, Representative Mark Pocan, my father died from lack of health care. Will you fight for me? That's what her sign says. Her dad died from lack of health care. Will you fight for her? I'm sorry. Cenk Uygur and the Justice Democrats will tell you now is not the time. That's what the Justice Democrats just told you, and Cenk Uygur. Now is not the time. That's what every one of them did. They told her, now is not the time to fight for your father. They canceled her. They're canceling us. They're being hostile to the movement that got them elected. They are committing violence against the people of America by denying them health care on purpose. They did that on purpose for their own careers. And if you can't look at a camera and say that, then you're not being candid. There's going to be another time when the squad's going to push for a Medicare for all vote. You know they're not, and I know they're not. Go tell that to this lady. We got a pay-go exemption. Go tell her. Mm-hmm. Go show her the video of AOC saying we got to cause a ruckus We got to be willing. We can do this. All it takes is courage. And then AOC saying we have to uphold the rule of law. She went from MLK to Nixon in 30 days. And you're not going to call that out?